At the beginning of the movie, a television news broadcast is relaying news of a 25,000 rupees fraud on the Indian stock exchange, which has caused the stock prices of major companies to decline, and some have even gone bankrupt. The perpetrators of the scam were an unknown team. Somewhere else, a man named Sunil, who was the boss of the team, was arrested by the police while he was having fun with his girlfriend to celebrate the success of his planned robbery. However, he ended up being arrested by the CBI agents. Elsewhere, a policeman named Ramachandran and his partner, a gangster chief named Radha, were planning a bank robbery mission with a total of 500 crore. But behind the mission, it turned out that Ramachandran was also planning to kill Radha and all his team members when the robbery was successfully executed. The day of the bank robbery finally arrived, and Radha's team entered the bank wearing black masks. They placed explosives on every door of the bank. Meanwhile, the bank employees and visitors were asked to hand over their cell phones.
Down!
Amidst the commotion inside the bank, a man was seen casually sitting on a chair. The man is known as the Dark Devil. A battle ensued between Radha's team and the Dark Devil. Dark Devil easily defeated Radha's team. Radha's team finally lost and surrendered, and the people inside the bank stood up and applauded because they had been saved by Dark Devil. But who would have thought, Dark Devil's arrival at the bank was also aimed at looting the bank, and the amount he would take was much larger than Radha's team, which was 5,000 crore. The people inside the bank became scared and they ducked back on the floor. In the meantime, one of the bank employees pressed the emergency button to call the police. The police then rushed to the scene, followed by a police commissioner named Dayalan. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Ramachandran told Inspector Rajesh that there was no way anyone could rob a bank in their city in broad daylight. Maybe the bank had pressed the wrong alarm. Back to the bank. Dark Devil explained his rules to everyone in the bank. Firstly, don't act like a hero. Secondly, work together with the thief. Third, don't try to identify the thief, and lastly, call the police after the thief leaves. Devil then invited Radha's team to work together to retrieve 5,000 crore from the bank, and in return, Radha's team would get a portion of the money. But if they refused, Dark Devil would shoot them all. In the end, Dark Devil cooperated with Radha's team. A little while later, Dark Devil told the bank manager to call the police. The bank manager then told the police that there were 9 thieves in the building. The heist continued, and several bank staff were threatened with explosives being placed on their bodies. If they tried to stand up, the bombs would explode. Radha's team then took the bank manager to the money storage room, while Dark Devil dealt with the police. Dark Devil then contacted a police officer named Anthony. Anthony was initially upset by Dark Devil's words, but when he heard the shots fired by Dark Devil, he couldn't help but obey Dark Devil's orders. Dark Devil ordered Anthony to block the road and all the crowds to stay away from the bank. Anthony then did everything according to Devil's orders. At a different intersection, a woman was spotted observing the situation around the crime scene from her CCTV-equipped car, and her name was Kanmani. On the other hand, the news about the looting of the bank by unidentified people had gone viral in the media. The head of the bank, whose name was Sham, then called Krish, the owner of the bank. Sham told Krish that if the thieves took more than 500 crore, their company would go bankrupt. Krish then ordered him to eliminate the thieves immediately and let none of them to be alive. Back to the bank. When the bank vault was open, Radha asked one of the bank staff how much money was there, and the staff said there was a total of 510 crore. When he found out that the money was not what he had expected, Radha became angry, because he felt he had been deceived by the Dark Devil, who had previously said the amount of money was 5,000 crore. Radha's team then had another plan. They would steal the money, and then would leave the bank. By this time, Dark Devil was talking to Ramachandran. Devil warned him that the only cop he had contact with was Anthony, and he didn't want to talk to any other cop. Ramachandran then shouted loudly and told Dark Devil to admit who he really was. Suddenly, Dark Devil fired a gun at Radha's team, who was caught running away with money. Upon hearing the gunshot, Ramachandran became silent. Devil then warned Ramachandran that he would tell the press that Ramachandran was the one responsible for the shot. Ramachandran then returned the phone to Anthony. During the call, Inspector Rajesh recorded Devil's voice and gave the recording to the press so that the public could investigate the bank looter's voice. Back to the bank. Dark Devil asked Radha's men to remove all the bullets from their guns. A short while later, Davin showed Radha a recording of Ramachandran's conversation. In the recording, Ramachandran said he would shoot them from afar when Radha's team brought the money out of the bank. Radha was angry that he had been betrayed by Ramachandran. Eventually, Radha teamed up with Dark Devil again. Radha and Devil worked together to find an unrelated item that didn't belong to the bank, an explosive that was apparently planted inside the building. A few moments later, the army troops were prepared to arrest Devil. They had also prepared snipers and experts to solve this problem, and some other officers were tasked to search for data from CCTV. Meanwhile, Kanmani watched the soldiers' movements from the security cameras. The troops were already preparing to surround the bank building. Ramachandran then ordered Anthony to call Dark Devil, as he planned to have a sniper shoot him when he picked up the phone. Inside the bank, before Devil picked up the phone call, he saw a sniper alert on his phone monitor, and at that moment a car in front of the bank exploded. A few moments later, Commissioner Dayalan ordered his men to check if there was a helicopter booking. And at the same time, Dark Devil was telling all the bank staff to count all the money. Commissioner Dayalan then ordered Anthony to call back Dark Devil to ask if Dark Devil had any other requests, because the police would provide whatever he needed. Devil then asked for a submarine to carry the huge amount of money out of India. Anthony was confused and surprised by the request, because the police did not have the submarine, because a submarine was only owned by the military. But Devil didn't care, and all he wanted was a submarine. Commissioner Dayalan then wondered how the criminals inside the bank building could know everything about the situation outside. Commissioner Dayalan then ordered all the CCTVs around the crime scene to be turned off. Kanmani was shocked when she found out that all the CCTVs had been turned off. With the CCTV off, she could no longer know the situation outside.
Time illa plan therinju life cut aiduchu.
Kanmani then contacted Dark Devil and informed him that their time was running out, and he asked Dark Devil to continue with other plans. Devil and Radha then looked for explosives in the bank, and finally they found a sophisticated explosive planted in one of the fire extinguishers. Meanwhile, the police finally managed to discover the face of Dark Devil, who was wearing a mask and was carrying a black suitcase from CCTV footage. They then searched for data to match his face. Commissioner Dayalan then asked his men to check the car that had been blown up earlier, and the police found a very long rope, which was connected to Kanmani's car. Ramachandran then immediately ran to chase Kanmani's car, but Kanmani managed to escape. Ramachandran then ordered his men to immediately chase Kanmani's car. When she reached the edge of a lake, Kanmani got out of her car and blew it up. Then she drove off in her other car. By the time Ramachandran found the location of the car, it was already burnt, so he found no clues. However, it turned out that one of the residents had seen Kanmani. The man said that he saw a woman running away in a black car, and he also gave the car's license plate number. Ramachandran's men chased Kanmani again, and eventually she managed to shoot all of Ramachandran's men. Kanmani then told Dark Devil that her job was done. Dark Devil then contacted the police and asked the police to meet him at a public parking lot in the city, if they wanted to find out who was behind this heist plan. The police followed Dark Devil's orders, and they found pictures and recordings of Ramachandran's conversations as he planned the bank robbery. Commissioner Dayalan was furious that Ramachandran had damaged the police's image and the public's trust. Commissioner Dayalan then asked Ramachandran to confess his actions, and Ramachandran then told him that he and Shyam were schoolmates. It was the two of them who planned the heist, and Shyam also asked for a 20% share of the money. Ramachandran then looked for someone who could carry out this bank robbery plan properly and without any loopholes. And that's when Ramachandran met Dark Devil, a wanted gangster in the entire country and with zero failures. When Ramachandran carried out the plan, Dark Devil rejected it. He then made another plan with Radha's team, but Radha did not know that they would be eliminated when the mission was accomplished. Commissioner Dayalan was furious when he heard Ramachandran's story, and he then slapped Ramachandran for ruining the police's image. When the police got the data about the Dark Devil, a very surprising fact was revealed. The Dark Devil was already dead. Commissioner Dayalan scolded Ramachandran again for having lied. Ramachandran then asked the commissioner to believe him. He said that the explosives at the bank entrance were fake explosives, and to prove it, Ramachandran ran to the bank door, and he pulled the explosives, and another explosion broke out around the bank. Dark Devil then asked Anthony to connect him to Krish, the bank owner, and he asked Krish to meet him. However, Krish declined to meet him, and Devil then said that in this year, Krish had visited the bank 18 times, and Devil asked that Krish's 19th visit was to meet him. Krish then called Shyam, who was currently being held hostage by Kanmani, and he was mad at Siam, because the explosives in the bank had been discovered by the thieves. And Krish said that the amount of money in the bank was not only 500 crore but 25,000 crore. Upon hearing the actual amount of money in the bank, Kanmani then informed Dark Devil about it. Meanwhile, inside the money storage room, the bank employees suddenly put up a fight and attacked Radha's team, and they finally managed to defeat Radha's team. The bank employees also attacked Devil, and Devil was surprised by the sudden attack. Devil lost his fight against the bank employees, and he ended up tied to a chair, and the bank employees finally managed to take over the control. A little while later, a bank employee called Krish to tell him that the bank was now under their control. In the end, Krish agreed to meet Dark Devil after he learned that his employees had managed to take back the bank. Before Krish entered the bank building, the police put a microphone on Krish's clothes, so that the police could hear Krish's conversation with Dark Devil. Once inside the building, Krish stepped on the microphone and damaged it, so that the conversation between him and Dark Devil could not be heard by the police. Before Dark Devil was shot, he asked Krish for some time to tell him the reason why he robbed the bank. The movie's story then flashes back to a few months earlier. Dark Devil's life with his family and team was very happy, even though they were a part of the gangster community. They were all like family and loved and looked after each other. One day, one of Dark Devil's men, who he considered his son, proposed to his girlfriend and was about to get married, and he was very happy. But in the evening, Dark Devil's house was suddenly attacked by a gang of gangsters, and to this day he has no idea who had carried out the attack. That night, a shootout ensued in which his son and future daughter-in-law were killed, and Kanmani was also shot in the crossfire, while Dark Devil was stabbed on his back. Dark Devil then took Kanmani away, so that she could be treated.
Eat this.
As he was about to flee in his car, the gang suddenly threw a firebomb at his car. The group of gangsters then traced the cliff where Dark Devil and Kanmani fell, but they could not find them, as it turned out that Dark Devil and Kanmani were saved by someone. Who then took care of him and Kanmani in a hidden place. Elsewhere, Dark Devil's men, named Dasa, managed to capture and hold hostage one of the gangsters who had attacked them. Dasa then asked who had attacked his boss, and why the media reported that his boss was dead, when in fact Dark Devil was still alive. The man then replied that he and his friend were ordered by Shyam, the chairman of your bank. Upon hearing the man's confession, Dasa then burned him. Dark Devil's team then put a bug at Shyam so they could hear about Krish and Shyam's plan to rob your bank, his own bank, and Radha's team would execute the robbery. However, after the money was successfully stolen by Radha, Ramachandran would shoot Radha, and half of the stolen amount would be Ramachandran's, and the rest would go back to the police. We're back at the bank. Devil warned Krish that he might hand over the audio recording of Krish and Siam's plan to the police commissioner. Krish then pleaded and asked what Dark Devil wanted, and he also offered Dark Devil 500 crore. Dark Devil then questioned what about the remaining 25,000 crore, and Krish was shocked that Devil knew the amount of money in the bank. Elsewhere, the police finally found Siam with a bomb strapped to his body, in the trunk of a car. Siam asked the police to save him, and he promised to confess all the crimes he had committed. Siam told the police that he and Krish were the masterminds behind the bank heist. For no apparent reason, Krish told him to steal 500 crore from the bank. At that time, he met Dark Devil and Ramachandran, but Dark Devil refused to execute the robbery. Since Dark Devil already knew about their plan, Krish planned to kill him. Suddenly, the bomb on Shyam's shirt activated and started a countdown and finally exploded. Inside the bank, Krish got information about Shyam's death. Krish then ordered his men to eliminate Dark Devil. Little did he know that Dark Devil was actually a very powerful and dangerous gangster chief. Dark Devil was able to easily defeat all of Krish's men. Dark Devil then sent a live video broadcast to the TV station. With a mask on his face, he said that the bank was a social service that helped the community, just as the police commissioner had said, but it was for the community to judge whether his statement was true or not. The story then flashes back to 3 years ago. A credit card, insurance, and stock sales company was holding an award ceremony for the best employee. The company, led by Shyam, was working with your bank, led by Krish. In the middle of the event, an employee named Kevin expressed his problem about the number of people who refused to use credit cards, leading to employees not being able to achieve their sales targets. Upon his employee's complaint, a manager then suggested that Kevin woo and persuade customers to use insurance, and the bank would give them a loan. Kevin then asked, what if the customers were unable to pay, wouldn't the debt they borrowed double in 3 months? And on the other hand, the employees also had to improve the customer's ability to pay their debts every month. The manager then told Kevin to keep his mouth shut and let the customer's debts go unpaid. Due to the question he asked at that event, Kevin was eventually transferred to the customer service department. However, he didn't just give up, he used the customer's contact number and contacted the customer and offered them insurance products, stocks, and credit cards, and he advised them that if they kept their money and invested in their company, then within 4 years their money would be returned many folds. 2 years later, Kevin ended up getting the Best Employee Award. But a few months after that, the company Kevin was working for reportedly went bankrupt and suffered a loss of 25,000 crore on the Indian Stock Exchange. The people who entrusted their money for investment blamed Kevin for the loss of their money. Kevin felt sorry and guilty for the customers he had invited to join, so he begged Krish to pay the 25,000 crore that had been lost, and Kevin also warned Krish that he would report his deeds if he did not want to pay the money. Kevin would report Krish and Shyam's crime to the police. Kevin also showed the documents he had prepared as evidence. Krish then engaged Kevin in conversation as he told him a story. Krish said that there was no point in Kevin doing something like this, as his bad reputation would only last for a short while, after which everything would recover, and people would return to investing and borrowing money again. Meanwhile, outside the building, the crowd was already angry and threatening to burn down the building. Krish pushed Kevin off the top of the building, and reported that it was the fault of one of the protesters. The crowd grew louder, and the heartless cop, Ramachandran, then poured gasoline and set the protesters on fire. Anthony, who saw the chaos unfold, was devastated by the number of casualties, some burnt and some fallen. Kevin was taken to the hospital by ambulance, But who would have thought the ambulance attendant had worked with Krish to kill Kevin? The officer would provide Kevin's death certificate, and Kevin eventually died in his hands. Kevin's parents, who learned that their son was gone, were heartbroken, and his parents were also ostracized by the local community, because they thought that Kevin was a bad person, when in fact Kevin was the one who had tried to return the customer's money. The story then returns to Dark Devil, when he was attacked by Krish's men. Dark Devil, who was injured, apparently came to Kevin's parents' house for help and hid there. Dark Devil later found out what really happened thanks to Kevin's parents' story. Kevin's parents hoped that God could help him, but they met the Dark Devil instead. It was for these reasons that the Dark Devil ended up inside the bank to commit a heist. The story then switches back to the present. Devil asked the police commissioner to bring the press into the building. Devil and Krish then did a live broadcast. In the live broadcast, Dark Devil gave a document for Krish to sign, which stated that Krish would return all the public money, and Krish would also admit all the crimes and fraud he had committed. Krish would also admit that the news about his company going bankrupt for 25,000 crore on the stock exchange was not true, but the money was still there and was still kept by Krish. Dark Devil then brought 3 people to the camera to tell where the 25,000 crore money was. Dark Devil finally showed his face on camera, and he asked the police commissioner, "Did I come here to rob 25,000 crore, or were they the ones who robbed the people's money under the guise of a bank?" The people who watched the live news rejoiced and delighted in what Dark Devil had done. Meanwhile, the police commissioner then got the information that Inspector Rajesh was also involved in the bank robbery, and all these events had been leaked to the press and had reached the minister, all because of Rajesh's actions. Rajesh then told the police commissioner that Krish's next plan was to kill everyone in the bank building. Everyone would die except Krish, and the order came from a minister. Elsewhere, a squad of soldiers armed with weapons and explosives were preparing to attack a bank building. The attack was carried out on the orders of a minister. Elsewhere, a reporter who has been working with Krish gives the code to Krish. Then, in front of the camera, Krish said that Devil was a terrorist and he had threatened him to give a false statement. At the same time, the TV network that was broadcasting live was cut, and the news about the terrorists who had damaged the Indian economy and threatened businessmen in India was then spread to the public. The soldiers ordered by a minister, who also collaborated with Krish, came to the police station and met Commissioner Dayalan. The soldiers were assigned to take over the case, and at the same time, Commissioner Dayalan got a 3-month suspension notice, as he could not solve the case. The story then moves on to Krish, who was about to open the money chest, where 25,000 crore was kept. However, the shocking fact was revealed that all the money was fake, and only 500 crore was genuine. The real money was then taken out of the depository to be saved. Meanwhile, Krish, his men and the explosives in the bank were put into the crate of fake money. Devil then asked Krish about the whereabouts of the 25,000 crore, but Krish was willing to tell where the money was if Devil let him go. In the end, Krish said that the money was stored on an ocean liner, in 25 containers scattered among hundreds of containers on the ship. Without many words, Devil then closed the money case along with the explosives. Outside the bank building, soldiers were preparing to attack the bank building. The soldiers threw explosives into the building. And in another place, people gathered to protest against the attack by the army on the bank building. But the army did not heed the protest and continued to attack. During the attack, Dark Devil tried to save the people inside the building. Suddenly, 2 trucks containing 2 tons of explosives brought by Kanmani arrived at the attack site. Kanmani then gave a warning to stop the attack, otherwise she would blow up the whole city, and asked the police to let her and Dark Devil leave safely. Moments later, Dark Devil came out wearing his mask, and not a single soldier shot at them. Dark Devil then boarded Kanmani's truck and drove around the city, handing out money to the people.
CMJ, I want temperature. Go.
After that, The two of them headed for the international waters to escape. Meanwhile, the army and naval forces chased Dark Devil and Kanmani, and they opened fire on both of them, shooting Devil and Kanmani dead. Kanmani and Dark Devil eventually drowned in the ocean. A while later, the naval forces searched for the bodies of Dark Devil and Kanmani, but strangely they could not find their bodies. As it turned out, Dark Devil and Kanmani were still alive, and they both headed for international waters. In another place, the commissioner along with other police officers finally found Krish's ship, and they managed to find the container containing the 25,000 crore money. Dark Devil then called Commissioner Dayalan and said, "Will you thank me?" Then the commissioner replied, "Not only am I grateful to you, but everyone who keeps his money in the bank will also thank you." Then the movie story ends.
If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. You should watch the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more video like this.